Okay, good morning everybody. My name is Chris Harvey. I'm the Operations Director here at IMSCAD in London. Today we're here for a webinar. It's actually booked for an hour. We're going to be less than that. You'll be pleased to hear this is going to be quite a prompt one today. So we'll hope to be done in 30 minutes, I would think, this morning. Now, really briefly, we're here to talk about mobile Worksyles for CAD users. Really briefly, we'll start with some basic housekeeping. I'm sure we've got a few more people joining as we speak. We'll let the people join, they'll pick up, but let's just go through some basic housekeeping. It's GoToWebinar, Citrix products. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. We do these enough, and I'm sure you use them enough with other companies everywhere. So really simply, there is a questions box down on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. If you want to ask questions at any point during the presentation, please do that. We've got a number of people on today, so basically everyone's on mute at this stage, so it'll only be me talking. But if you've got any questions while we're going through, please post them in there. I'll try and address those as we go. Excuse me. What I can say is we will have a little Q&A at the end, little questions and answers session. So I don't think there'll be too many today, but if you have anything specific that you want to ask, by all means do, and we'll address those at the end. But if you want to post them ongoing, that's absolutely fine. So we're here, as I say, to talk about mobile Worksyles for CAD users, and really simply, it's about giving users access to CAD applications, CAD users, anywhere, anytime, and of course on any device. The benefits of mobility for CAD users we'll talk about, and how to achieve this without compromising the levels of security and control that are needed by IT at management level and obviously demanded by the business. So I'm going to give you a brief introduction today to IMSCAD, why we're here, why we're talking to you. We're then going to briefly talk about user mobility, mobile Worksyles, the CAD users that this becomes relevant to, how virtualization and Citrix can help achieve this, what business benefits we're talking about rather than just the user benefits, and then we'll have a quick look at solution costs. I've just given a brief example of what kind of solution costs we're talking about, and then we'll move on to the Q&A session at the end. So really simply, I think that's the format we're going to follow today. So as I say, questions there if you need anything from me. So to start with, IMSCAD. Who are we? Why are you listening to us? Well, we're a virtualization company based in London. We've got 2 data centers in London, 2 in New York, 1 in Zurich. We were originally an Autodesk reseller, and we were invited to become so by Autodesk surrounding the Map 3D product, which was their first product that they put into a Citrix virtual environment, or ready for a Citrix virtual environment. So our virtualization skills were attractive to them. They brought us in to assist with the deployments on the Map 3D product. I think it's safe to say we weren't very good as a reseller. Our skills are not particularly in that area. So we realized one thing for sure, which was that having a single product available on a virtual platform was perhaps not the best route. It was fairly evident that most users were using a multitude of different products and a mix of different products. So we pushed Autodesk to assist them in getting additional products ready for Citrix and for virtualization. And we worked with them developing AutoCAD and Revit. We did international pilots, some key sites, different environments, to really test the performance in key areas of those applications. In 2012, or the 2012 releases, we saw Autodesk put the Citrix Ready tag on the AutoCAD and Revit ranges of products, and at that point we realized fairly soon it was best for us to relinquish our position as a reseller and concentrate much more on supporting other resellers, the channel partners of Autodesk, Autodesk themselves, and indeed their end users on a global basis. There was very much, as we saw it, a big gap between the application specialists, which of course Autodesk channel partners are, and the platform specialists, the Citrix suppliers, and virtualization experts. The real reason for this was because we basically realised that the applications do not run out of the box. It's not an out-of-the-box solution. There's a lot of customisation, there's a lot of optimisation. There's a lot needs to be done to make these resource-hungry 3D applications work effectively in a virtual environment. And it was the skills we got in doing that that made us realise our place was better suited to providing that support service for the Autodesk channel and the Autodesk end users. Obviously that's developed on from there for us doing work with other CAD suppliers and CAD products. As I say, the mix of applications used by any users in any environment. There's always third-party add-ons and plugins. There's other, obviously, CAD vendors in the marketplace whose products they're interested in virtualizing as well. So our skills have developed beyond just the Autodesk range of products as we've progressed. So since that date, we've additionally done a lot of testing for Autodesk. We did the testing to get their suite certified for Citrix. We provide testing services for NVIDIA. We've done a lot of work with them regarding the new grid GPU cards, and which I think are significant in the performance delivery that they now offer and the uplifts that they're going to bring certainly in the future, but I'll touch on that in a moment. We also have done testing for Dell. We're working on a number of projects currently with Hewlett-Packard. So we're really sort of at the thick end of this, where the new technology is, the new developments are happening, and we're working with the key partners in ensuring that we are in the best position to deploy these applications effectively in virtual environments. So currently to date we've got more deployments. We support more CAD users running in virtual environments than anybody else globally. And obviously we're talking about mobility today. Part of the reason for doing that and part of the buy-in from the clients in doing this is to achieve that user mobility that they need. The key thing to take from all of this is the fact that now, while it didn't used to be the case, we've seen significant improvements in performance, and those have come from advances in the software, both from the CAD vendors, equally and very much so from Citrix in terms of their platform, but also in the hardware. We've seen developments in hardware with CPU speeds increasing. That's obviously down to Intel largely, but in the different hardware from Hewlett-Packard, from Dell. And we've seen massive developments from NVIDIA, the improvement in their products. The grid GPU cards we're now seeing are fantastic. The new Kepler GPUs are giving us some real benefits in terms of processing power at that end. And this is really the effectiveness of virtualizing CAD applications, is the ability to transfer processing from the traditional CPU, moving that onto the GPU, where we can achieve much better performance with those heavy-duty, resource-hungry 3D applications. There's a lot more to come from NVIDIA. There's developments in what's termed the VGX hypervisor, which they've developed with Citrix. That again is going to change what we have available, how our future deployments are going to look. We're going to be looking much more at desktop deployments rather than just application deployments. We can do both at the moment, but there's different ways of doing this, and we're going to see a lot more happening in the future. But the key to remember from this is we now have the performance that users demand, and we're talking workstation performance even across the WAN. So things really have moved on quite significantly from that point of view. So anyway, that's enough about us. Let's get back onto the subject matter, which is mobile Worksyles for CAD users. Well, mobile Worksyles, what are we talking about? Well, quite simply, we're talking about user mobility. User mobility, or mobile Worksyles, what's it about? It's about giving the users access to their applications and their data from anywhere, at any time, and from any device. Now, by anywhere, we mean remote locations. This is home users, branch users, maybe on site, other offices of third-party collaborators, etc. Anywhere, if they've got internet access, Wi-Fi access, even on 3G, we can be delivering these now. Now, to give you an example of that, we have architects who will go on site and meet clients and collaborators. Working on iPads, will pull up Revit 3D applications running not on the iPad, but viewed on the iPad, so that they can look at the up-to-date plans and even make amendments to those plans while they're on site. And we've had architects doing that on over 3G. Obviously, we've got 4G around the corner, just starting to hit. I think there's going to be benefits, further benefits there. We haven't done testing on it yet, but that's going to be the next thing we're looking at. So that's anywhere, anytime is obvious. This is when users demand it, as and when they want it to work, when it suits them. And any device. Now, any device, what we're talking about, home PCs. Home PCs that aren't powerful enough to run the CAD applications themselves, you can now work on your applications and your data that you would in the office on your expensive workstation on your home PC. So we're giving you access to the servers which run it. It's not actually running on the PC, but by a simple Citrix receiver, we can allow you access from any device. So home PCs, laptops, tablets, smartphones, all of these different devices, even the Cisco phone systems. So this is really changing where and when and how users can work. And it fits into the sort of bring your own device policies that we're seeing more and more within organisations, where I know we had a situation with one client who was buying very expensive laptops for their mobile users. They found that the lifespan of those laptops was between 3 and 6 months, which was fairly short, but they weren't lasting very long, and they were very expensive. What that company did was actually change its offering. They gave each of its employees a budget to buy a device of their choice. Most of the employees, in truth, spent slightly over the budget to get the device that they wanted, but the key thing to this was the lifespan of those devices then went up to 10 to 12 months, as opposed to the 3 to 6 months they were looking at previously. So there was a massive cost saving for the business in doing that, but it showed that people's demands on devices and what devices they wanted to use were significant, and I think we're seeing a much more techno-savvy workforce entering the marketplace. So that obviously fits into the bring your own device policies. So that's user mobility, that's what we're talking about. It's anywhere, it's anytime, and key to this, it's on any device. So we're talking about mobile access for CAD users. Who are these CAD users? Who are the CAD users we're talking about? Well, design users, basic CAD users, any third-party collaborators, but it's not just the designers. It extends beyond that to all of the people who need access to view the plans, to view any of the models, if you're in a BIM environment. So that they're the people, anybody who's working off the plans potentially can see the benefit of having those available to them in a mobile environment. So the key industry sectors, as I've sort of highlighted here, obviously AEC, we've seen the adoption of BIM massively increase the number of collaborators and the locations for which access is required. Obviously, mobility for the users and for the data and the applications is providing that to all of those users wherever they are, collaboration on site, collaboration in the third-party offices of the contractors or wherever else. In civil and utilities, we're seeing obviously home design teams in various areas and the numerous remote workers and field operatives who need access to the very latest plans and data when they're out in the field. So this is massively fitting into their requirements. On the manufacturing side as well, I think we're seeing obviously greater levels of design collaboration, and these are working through distributed design teams. This is facilitating those users in collaborating and providing them with the tools they need to take their designs and plans on mobile devices or to remote locations where they can further discuss those. So they're the key users where we see this fitting in. And what are the key benefits for those users? Well, if we start simply with the users, it empowers them, it gives them the choice over their work and life balance. So they can work when they want, when they feel inspired, when they feel productive. It removes time wasted potentially commuting to and from office space where they need to work. It gives them that freedom. And I think this is key. It gives them the freedom. They've got full access to their applications and their data remotely from the device of their choice. So that's a big thing for any user to be able to have that freedom. But that's for the user who needs the choice. There's also the user who, of course, needs it by demand. And the user who needs it by demand is potentially the field operative, the mobile worker who needs access, and doesn't have the choice in it. So it's greatly improving collaboration for those users with other parties, with contractors, even clients out on client sites. And that's the key thing we're looking for in achieving here, is for these demand users, in giving them the facility to have access to the latest information, the latest plans, the latest data, and to do that on any device of their choice. So they're the benefits for the users, but obviously in providing this, there are some dangers associated with it. There's some dangers for the business, and there's some strains that it's going to put on IT in managing this, as you get these distributed users and you've got the distributed data. And the key really is how, for business, do they manage these varying and increasing number of users at varying locations and still retain the level of security of the data and protect the IP that they need. So it's really around that. It's around, the dangers are really around the risks associated with distributed data. How do you protect your IP with all these remote users, all these different devices, and coming from all these different locations? And it's the control and the control of access for those users, who's able to see what, who's able to access what, and therefore who's able to control what. And it's really the case that virtualization and what we're able to do with Citrix really brings back that level of control. So virtualization is the key to delivering the user the benefits that they need. We basically centralize the applications, we centralize the data, we then virtualize and then provide both data and applications on demand to the user wherever they are, whatever device they want it on, and wherever they're accessing from. And it's the key to doing that with the level of security that's needed that is the key to doing this successfully. The data never leaves the security of the servers, of the central servers or the data center. All that happens, quite simply, users will load a receiver, a thin client, Citrix receiver. It's about a 50 meg client, and that will allow access from any device. Now, you know, that can be downloaded from the Apple iStore. Obviously, we set up web browsers for a lot of people and come in via web browsers, and we'll download the receiver from there. But once you've got that receiver on your device, you then have access to those central servers. Now, the data never leaves the central server, neither does the application. You're working and accessing that central server from your remote device. So all that's communicated backwards and forwards are the mouse movements, the keystrokes, the pixel changes, and all of that is done with added layers of security to ensure there can be no compromise of that data at any point. So IT keeps control centrally. It controls the access, which users need access to which applications, and what data, what they can amend, what they can download, whether they can change the applications, whether they can make copies of the data. Everything can be controlled centrally by IT. So in real terms, this can increase the speed of deployment. The ability to add new users for IT is massively increased. Whether that's project teams coming on board, whether it's third-party collaborators needing access, and in the same light, on the other side of the coin, is equally it can remove them as easily. Potentially, let's say you've had a theft of a device. That device or access for that user from that device can simply be stopped instantly by IT. So we're protecting, fully protecting what can be done. IT has full control, and Citrix also provides full activity logging, reporting, auditing. So we're fully fitting in with compliance and privacy standards. So virtualization not only delivers the benefits, but it also ensures that IT has the level of control over the users, the applications, and of course, key to this, the data. But the key thing here, while we're getting this level of security and control that IT needs and the business demands, we're doing all of this and still providing the user with the level of performance that they demand. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, I don't think a design user would want to be sitting on site working via a Wi-Fi link and trying to do designs on Revit for 8 hours a day, but I don't think that's what we're talking about here. What we're doing is providing mobile access for users who require mobile access. For heavy-duty design users, they are going to be office-based. They're not going to be working in these environments. What we're doing is providing them access to these environments so they can work when they have that mobile requirement. I think this is it's important to keep a focus on that. For the users, let's look at field operatives from utilities, for example. You know, they may be a long way out. They may need to find locate pipelines or overhead cabling and work out exact measurements where things are. If we can give them access to the latest plans, they can perform their tasks more effectively. What we're not talking about here is heavy design users working on mobile devices for extended periods of time. That is just not practical. If we're putting people like that are going to be working from a more desk-based product, but from a home PC, for a design user, it will be like working in his office on his very expensive workstation. So that's really where we're looking at the fit here. Now, what are the business benefits for this? Well, ultimately, we're increasing productivity, reducing costs, and the outcome is obviously an increase in profits. That's what we're looking at, and this is why this is attractive to business. So virtualization not only provides the user with mobility, which is key, but it also provides what we term enterprise mobility. And I think this is key. This is the ability for business to upscale and downscale to meet its changing needs, changing business climate, be this for growth, even for contraction of business. We've virtualized many companies who are actually, during this recessionary period that we've seen, are actually getting smaller and laying staff off. And we've actually virtualized a lot of companies in that situation because it becomes far more cost effective. It's more important for them to get a real control over their costs, and the ability for them to control that with virtualization has been massively increased. So while we all think if it's a good situation when your business is going well, it can equally work in the other way. So upscaling, downscaling to meet project demands is a key thing. And I think more and more as we move forward now, collaboration is key. We're seeing this, obviously BIM has been a huge one in the AC arena, but we're seeing this across the board with design teams in the manufacturing areas, having distributed workforces working on the same models, working on the same projects, having the need to get access to the same data and everything else. Well, this is massively improved by collaboration, the ability to deliver the applications and the data to any user on any device at any time with the full level of control and security is massive. So, you know, the external third-party contractors are key to this, and indeed even the clients with the collaboration with clients on work. The IT management savings I've mentioned, no longer will an organisation have loads of distributed workstations with data distributed on them, applications distributed on them that they need to manage and support. All of the applications and data management will be done centrally as a single instance management. The data never leaving the secure data center or servers. So massive improvement there. Patches, upgrades, fixes that need to be done to the application can be done centrally and once by the IT management and then delivered to the users. Version control, things of that nature. What applications do different users need? Different project workers. Projects will be done in different versions of, you know, one might be done in 2012. We have architectural firms that we've deployed who are still doing some deployments on 2010. Obviously, some projects take a long time. But the control of which users need access to which applications can easily be done centrally by IT. So there's some massive benefits and cost savings there. So it's all centrally controlled, giving IT much greater control over both the users, who's accessing what, and what data they need to. On the hardware side, obviously, we're talking about those distributed workstations. We're seeing a huge cost saving by meeting bring your own device policies, by enterprise providing these solutions to anyone on any device. They no longer are tied into these costly workstation refreshes. We're certainly seeing the movement from AutoCAD to Revit to the BIM technologies, a higher demand on the workstation in terms of processing power. And they can get out of that if they're adopting bring your own device policies, reducing hardware expenditure, and obviously providing access to the users on the device of their choice. And that, I think, is also a relevant point, because we are seeing a new techno-savvy workforce. Staff entering the marketplace now are more techno-savvy. They're used to working on different devices, certainly than we were when we grew up. There's much more available to them now. The number of devices they're used to work on. Their choice of device is slightly different. So I think the ability of business to offer these facilities potentially gives it the chance to attract better staff and the more discerning techno-savvy staff that we're talking about. So they're the sort of key business benefits we're talking about in providing mobility for your users, but equally the sort of knock-on effect of having virtual deployments. When we talk about these deployments to mobile users, of course, we can be deploying these to the office users from the same servers, the same solution effectively. So the licenses, if you've got a license pool for 20, for 50 users, you can have 30 of those working remotely and 20 of those working from the office, and have that mix moving as and when you like without any problem from the deployment side. They're all going to be working on workstation comparable performance. So that's really where this fits in. So how much does it cost to put these things together? What are we really talking about? Well, I've put together a simple slide here, and if I just chat through this is for a single server. So one server, what we're talking about here in terms of server, in this case I've picked a Hewlett-Packard, the DL380P. This would have 2 CPUs, dual 8-core CPUs running at 2.9 gigahertz. We would be looking there at 128 gig of RAM, 300 gig hard disks, upgraded power supplies, various things that it needs. And in this case, we'd be looking at a couple of Quadro GPU cards. Now, these are only fairly small GPU cards in this case that I picked for this. But if I tell you we would be looking at this kind of server, we would support 20 users, and we would, I put figures there for 5 apps or for 10 apps. Now, if you're looking at something like the building design suite, very popular in the AEC industry, we realistically would be looking at 10 apps. Not everybody's going to use all of the component parts of that design suite, but you probably want some Adobe products on there. You'll probably have a couple of add-ons and plugins that you'll need to put. So we've done these as very much as indicative figures to give you an idea what kind of costs we're talking about. Now, with these figures that I'm showing on the screen, this is based on a 3-year. So what we're also including here is your costs for your software, which will be Windows, obviously Windows Server. You buy 2012, we're actually running on 2008 R2. The client access licenses, remote and server. We're also talking here about the Citrix licensing. In this case, I've costed this on Zen Desktop, which is a suite that includes Zen App. So this is your Citrix licensing. It's also the renewals of those products based on a 3-year term. And from IMSCAD, our installation services and our support services. We provide support for all of the applications that we deploy. So this is for our installation and then ongoing support. And as I will reiterate, this is for a 3-year period. So if we're talking a deployment of 10 applications for 20 users on a 3-year period, 64,000 euros is the kind of figure you would be looking at. Now, I think the key figure, and I'll point this one out, if you look at that on a per month per user figure, that works out at 89 euros. So I think you can start to understand from that, and even hopefully from the 64,000 figure, but certainly when you're looking per user per month at 89 euros, you can start to see where the massive cost savings are for people in providing these kind of solutions for their employees. Certainly, and today is all about employees requiring or desiring mobility, this is the real cost of these solutions. So at €89 per user per month based on 10 applications, if you look at the 5 applications, that figure actually drops to €75 per user per month. But this is a massive cost saving over what we're potentially talking about in terms of workstation deployment for these design users, or CAD viewers, shall we say, people who need to view those CAD designs. So we can hugely make cost savings here while providing the benefits, obviously, to the business in terms of improving the ability to collaborate, improving saving management costs, saving hardware expenditure, and the benefits for the user where we're providing them with the better life-work balance, better productivity, giving them the freedom to work when and how they want, and providing them with a tool so that they can work in those mobile environments and collaborate better on the projects as they need to. So all of this can be done. The key thing is we can do it all with the level of performance that people need, and we can facilitate all of those demands of the users and meet the strict controls that IT and the business demand in terms of control and equally security of the data. So all in all, these are pretty good solutions, and as you can see from the figures there, these are cost effective. So I'm going to end on that point. I've given you some costs. As I said, I was trying to keep this to half an hour today. I've run just over. Basically, we will be running regular 30-minute webinars. They'll be covering a variety of CAD virtualization-based subjects. I would recommend you visit our website. We've got details of the webinars on there. I'm posting more on there all the time. There's also loads of useful information, case studies. There's links to other webinars we've previously done, links to our YouTube channel, and something which will be coming on our website in the coming week or two. We'll be putting up a global partner map which shows our global partners who we work with in deploying these solutions. We have, and this is a key thing for you, we have demo servers set up both here in EMEA, also in the US. I recommend to everybody that you try it out. Request access, either get in touch with me or there's a request form on the website in various places. Request access to our demo server. Now, you will be accessing that demo server over the open internet without the benefits of WAN optimization. So you will be very much looking at the solution as a remote user would be. And I think you will be very impressed by the level of performance we can achieve. So I would recommend you request access. Let us know what applications you want us to make available for you. We can let you upload some of your own files, some of your own data sets to work on. And then I recommend try access from different locations, try access at different times and on a variety of different devices. That's what it's about. It's about anywhere, anytime and on any device. We'll make those demo servers available to you. You see what level of performance you can achieve. And this is the key to it. This is the real key to what we're doing here. It's about delivering workstation comparable performance over the wider area network, and that's what the user demands. But it's doing it with the security and the control that are required by IT and obviously as the business demands. So my name's Chris Harvey. I have to say, I'm from IMSCAD, Operations Director. I'm here to assist you, take any questions if you've got any. Pretty much I want to say thank you for your time today and for listening to our brief webinar. As I say, get onto the website, have a look at what we've got on there, but I would strongly recommend have a go on the demo servers, try out access and see what kind of performance you can achieve for your mobile users, because you will be very impressed at what we can do these days. If there's any questions for me, please post them now. I haven't seen any coming yet, so I'm assuming this has been all fairly clear and to the point. There's lots more data, lots more information available on the website, so I'm going to thank everybody for listening today. Thank you very much for your time. If you've got any questions, do post those now, but otherwise, thank you for your time, and obviously we're here to assist you if you want to get in touch. Thank you.